Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a franchise that I'm sure needs no introduction. Yeah, I know. Cheesy opening. Hey, it's cheesy like pizza. You know, the turtles like to eat pizza. Alright, enough kidding around. I'm sure you've heard of these shelled action heroes at some point in your life, whether it be through movies, TV shows, comics, action figures. They started in the 80s, and, I mean, there's still, like, new movies and stuff being released about them to this day. Now, me, I never really was that into them growing up. I'd heard of them, but it didn't really tickle my fancy, I suppose. So I guess my first real exposure was the 1989 NES game, which, it's not really a good first impression. But recently, I've gotten kind of obsessed with the Ninja Turtles and their video game outings. Apparently my friends have too. I got suggested to review the Ninja Turtles games. Well, I was more like reminded that I wanted to do so, but, I mean, you get the point. Starting with this first outing on NES. I first completed this game a year ago, and my thoughts on it weren't the best. I'd heard the game was difficult, and we all remember the AVGN video from way back then.
It's some game designer who's laughing their ass off just decided to put a pizza down there. Okay, well, what's the point?
And after completing it, I had to agree that it was the difficulty was way too high. I did not think very highly of the game. But a year has passed, so let's see if my thoughts on this game differ any. Let's review TMNT for NES. TMNT was released in 1989 under Konami's subsidiary, Ultra Games. This is basically around Nintendo's limit towards publishers, which made it so they only publish 5 games a year. And even without knowing this game still has the Konami feel to it. It's pretty high quality. You're given control of 4 playable characters, and of course they're the Ninja Turtles: Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. Now, a flaw that can be noticed right out of the gate is that this game's balancing is just all out of whack. Something I like about the other Ninja Turtles games, like Turtles in Time, is that it doesn't really matter which one you play as, because they're all pretty much the same. But in this game, Donatello is just so much better than all the other ones. He not only has the longest range with his weapon, but he also deals the most damage. The others either deal less damage or they just don't have any range. My personal favorite turtle is Raphael, but it seems to just be completely impossible to beat the game with him. Like, he has no range whatsoever. What were they even thinking with this? The actual game itself is a mix of these overhead Zelda-like segments and side-scrolling stages. The controls are serviceable. I mean, they take some time to get used to, but you'll get it. It's a side-scrolling platform, right? It's not rocket science. The music's also pretty good, but we're dealing with Konami. That shouldn't really come as a shock. In my opinion, one of the game's stronger points is the enemy variety. Now, sure, they didn't really use more recognizable characters from the TV show, but there are a bunch of unique ideas in here. There's this guy who's completely engulfed in flames, and there's this guy that shoots his head at you when you attack him. There's guys that run at you throwing boomerangs, there's balloons with missiles tied to them, and wait a minute, that's the giant walker thing from RoboCop. Yeah, the one that trips over the stairs and squeals like a pig. Wow, that is a great movie. I'm getting sidetracked. Every so often, though, you'll encounter a mini-boss, which is usually just the strongest enemy in a given area. But you also get Bebop in the first level. And that reminds me, I don't really like the bosses in this game. They're all too easy. I mean, everyone knows that cheesy strategy with Rocksteady. But you know you can also do it here to the Stage 3 boss? And you can pause while the giant Mauser has its mouth open and just go to town with Donatello. It's ridiculous. So the bosses aren't challenging. But what makes this game challenging? Well, the pixel-precise jumps. As I said, the jumping takes some time to get used to. And you better get used to them, because otherwise you'll have to redo whole sections again. I think everyone remembers level 2. Because, well, that's where the dam is, and everybody remembers the dam level. It's a completely different gameplay style from the beginning of the game, and you have barely any time to get used to it. You have 2 minutes to defuse 8 bombs, and it's not really the hardest thing in the world once you get used to it. It is definitely a major roadblock. I mean, there's the one section with the electric seaweed, and it's almost impossible to not get hit. I guess for me, I kind of like this level because, well, when you get to the end, you do a pose and you shout, okay. And it kind of reminds me of Metal Slug.
Okay.
So the first levels are really short, but then the game kind of opens up a bit. And I mean, by a bit, I mean a lot. The game pretty much gives you a mini Zelda overworld to explore with the Turtles party van. The problem with that is that there's no real point in exploring anywhere. I mean, there's no extra lives, so you can't really find anything good. And there's pizza, but, you know, you can just respawn the same pizzas over and over again. If your turtles die, you might need to explore to go and rescue them, but... yeah, I don't know. Just don't die. And speaking of that, why is there a score? You don't get any extra lives or continues. There's no point. It kind of reminds me of the first Mega Man game. My favorite section of the game is Stage 5, where you're infiltrating the Foot Clan's base in search of the Technodrome. The nighttime aesthetic with the music, it sets the mood perfectly. You really do feel like you're being sneaky with this music. I can't really tell you why I really enjoy this area. Maybe it's because it provides me with scrolls. Which I forgot to mention the sub-weapons. Sometimes enemies will drop them randomly, or you can find them in the levels sometimes. There's shurikens, which are kind of like Ninja Gaiden, but there's also boomerangs, which are pretty powerful, but you also have practically infinite boomerangs, since catching a boomerang restores that boomerang to your account. And then, of course, there's the scrolls, which are more powerful than even Donatello's weapon. Equipping this to any turtle makes them a force to be reckoned with, and you can beat the game with any one provided you have scrolls. Even Raphael. It's worth taking the time to farm them in Stage 5, as it not only makes the stage easier, but they're good if you want to play as your favorite turtle. Now, a weird sub-weapon type thing, which is not really a sub-weapon, but you still have to like pick it up, is the ninja rope. The only purpose it serves is to get you across a gap in Stage 4. Why do you even have to pick up this? Just let him do it automatically. Or make the rope actually do something. Like, have it be like a grappling hook. I don't know, is that too much to ask for? Right, so anyways, the last stage is inside the Technodrome, and this stage would be actually impossible without scrolls. It's a long side-scrolling stage with barely any pizzas, and the enemies are fucking relentless. Not to mention the return of the jetpack ninjas from Ninja Gaiden. Oh, we meet again. But they might be even worse here, since they deal so much damage. The saving grace is that their AI can easily be cheese, and they're taken out in 2 hits with scrolls. Otherwise, this final corridor with them would be literally impossible. Like, I've been figuratively, like, yeah, this might be impossible, but this final corridor might actually be, like, impossible without scrolls. I don't know. The final boss is, who would have guessed, Shredder. He's a complete pushover just like any other boss. Side note, but Shredder might just have one of my favorite designs ever. He just looks cool, with all the spikes and the cape. Unfortunately, in this game, I always just cheese him with scrolls, so I've never even seen what he can do. And with that, TMNT is done! Splinter turns back into a human and the adventure concludes. I don't know if this is how canon this is, but, you know, let's... probably didn't know what they were doing. And that was TMNT on NES. I probably glossed over a couple things, but this game has become a favorite of mine. Sure, it's not resting with the kings of the NES library, but it's fun to simply load it up and blast through it whenever I can. I don't think this game deserves its reputation for being just a complete unfair mess. It's probably like a 4 out of 5 on the bust your balls scale. But, I mean, that doesn't really matter. It's time for the game's rating out of 10, and I have to give it a 7 out of 10. It's good, but its flaws are definitely noticeable enough. But if you know what you're doing, it's a nice, short, easy playthrough. That'll be it for me. I'm sure you might be wondering why the hell I'm back on the NES after I was so excited to finally get off of it. Well, there's 2 reasons. First, I've been having a hard time writing about Super Metroid cohesively. I mean, I can gush about the game for hours, but you're not going to understand a lick of it. And second, My RPG drive has kicked back into gear as of late, so how about we go and try and finish Final Fantasy II, after I gave up on it a while back. I also have a larger project in the works that involves the NES, so stay tuned. Take care and see ya.